You can put real money into rockets right now, today, from your couch, in your pajamas, with whatever's left in your checking account after rent. Access isn't the problem. The problem is that most of the ways to do it are quietly terrible, and nobody warns you which ones until the money's already gone. So I ranked them. 7 ways to bet on space, worst to best. And to get why the bottom of this list is so rotten, you have to rewind to 2021. That year, space companies went public in a flood. Not the slow way, with years of paperwork and bankers picking through your books. They used a SPAC, basically a backdoor that let a company skip most of the scrutiny and start trading fast. Regular investors saw the word space and threw money at it. Everybody wanted the next SpaceX before it was the next SpaceX. Then the bill came due. Inside 2 years, a bunch of those names dropped 80, even 90%. Put in $10,000, walk away with $1,000. That wipeout is why this ranking exists, so let's start at the bottom, with the thing that did the burning. Rank 7. The worst. A single small space stock. One company. Picture Virgin Galactic. Picture some satellite startup you have never heard of, with a slick logo and a fresh press release. Here is why it is dead last. These companies usually do not turn a profit yet. They burn cash and swear it will pay off later. So everything hangs on launches working and contracts landing on schedule. A rocket blows up on the pad? The stock craters overnight. A government deal slips 6 months? Same fall. There is no cushion under you. You are not investing, you are holding your breath. The 2021 crowd learned that as those SPAC darlings folded one by one. Could one of these turn into the next giant? Sure, but you are betting on a coin flip and the coin is on fire. Rank 6 is uglier in spirit, honestly, but it lands above 7 because here you usually know you're gambling. These are the meme plays and the penny stocks. Companies that barely touch space but figured out that dropping the words orbital or lunar into a headline pops the stock for an afternoon. Quick way to catch them. Look at revenue. Not the dream, not the slide deck. The actual money walking in the door. If a company is valued at $1 billion on paper and sells maybe $4 million of real stuff a year, that gap isn't opportunity. It's hype waiting to leak out. And hype only pays the people who got in early and got out early. If you're reading about it, you're late. Rank 5. Now we climb out of the danger zone. The big aerospace and defense names. Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Northrop Grumman. Real, boring, profitable outfits that have been around forever and actually bend the metal that flies. They pay dividends. They don't evaporate overnight. Solid, right? Here's the catch. Space is a sliver of what they do. Most of their cash comes from fighter jets, missiles, radar, the whole war machine. So you buy Lockheed dreaming about the space boom, and you mostly buy jets with a little space bolted on the side. Safe, yes, but you barely placed the bet you thought you placed. Rank 4. Space ETFs. The two you will hear about most are ARKX and one that trades under the ticker UFO. An ETF, or exchange-traded fund, is just a basket. Buy one ticker and you own thin slices of dozens of space companies at once. Launch outfits, satellite makers, the suppliers underneath them, all bundled together. The trade-off is the whole point. You give up the fantasy of picking the one rocket company that moons and makes you rich. You also stop bleeding when one of them faceplants. 3 names in the basket blow up, 4 others quietly double, and you come out fine. The basket eats the shock. For most people who just want to own space without lying awake reading launch reports, this is honestly a sane place to leave your money. Rank 3. My favorite of the stock picks, and it has a nickname. Picks and shovels. During the gold rush, the folks who reliably got rich were not bent over the river panning. They were the ones selling shovels to every dreamer who showed up. Space runs the same way. Some companies never light a single rocket. They sell the antennas. They sell the ground stations that talk to the satellites. They sell the data that comes back down. It does not matter which rocket company wins, they all need that gear, so the supplier gets paid no matter what. Take Rocket Lab. It builds small rockets, sure, but it also sells satellite parts and whole spacecraft to other people, so it has more than one way to make a buck. The suppliers tend to outlive the dreamers because they are selling to all of them at once. Rank number 2. The private rounds. This is where it stings, because this is where the real prize sits, and you mostly cannot touch it. SpaceX is the giant. It was last valued north of $350 billion, and it is nowhere on the stock market. You cannot buy it in your brokerage app. To get into a company like that before it goes public, you usually have to be an accredited investor, which is a polite phrase for already rich. Roughly $1 million in net worth outside your house, or a fat yearly income. If you miss that bar, your only route is a feeder fund that pools regular folks' money and buys a sliver for you. Sounds great. Then you read the fees. A cut to get in, a cut every year, sometimes a cut of your gains on the way out. By the time SpaceX finally pays, the fund has already eaten half your sandwich. The best shot on this whole list sits behind a velvet rope, and the doorman charges a toll. Which lands us at rank 1. And brace yourself, because it's dull. The best way to invest in space is to own a wide, cheap slice of the whole sector, then do the single hardest thing there is. Wait, don't chase the rocket of the month. Don't panic sell because one launch failed and the headlines are screaming. Don't dump everything into the stock your cousin won't shut up about at dinner. Buy broad and cheap, then sit on it for 10 years while the booms and busts cancel each other out. Here's what people forget about SpaceX. It didn't win on one bet. It won on launches and government contracts and Starlink beaming internet to a cabin 3 hours from the nearest town and quiet military work, all stacked so that when one piece had a rough year, another piece carried the load. You can copy that exact logic with your own money. Lots of small bets, lots of patience, nothing that can sink you alone. Let's run it back fast. 7. The single small stock. One bad morning from disaster. 6. The meme and penny plays. All noise, no revenue. 5. The defense giants, safe but barely about space. 4. The ETFs, one ticker, instant spread. 3. The picks and shovels, the suppliers who collect no matter who wins. 2. The private rounds, the best prize locked behind fees and net worth rules. And 1. Plain diversified exposure plus the patience to sit still. Quick gut check before you go. Which one are you actually in right now? Be honest with yourself. Plenty of people swear they're sitting at rank 1 while their whole account is quietly parked at rank 7. The real money in space probably won't come from the company with the prettiest launch video. You know the one. Slow motion liftoff, orchestra swelling underneath. The whole thing built to give you chills. It'll come from whoever's still standing in 10 years, still shipping hardware, still cashing checks, long after the hype cycle's burned out and half the names from 2021 got forgotten. The flashy move and the smart move are almost never the same move. The smart one is patient, cheap, and a little embarrassing to brag about at a party. So tell me where I blew it. Drop your own ranking in the comments. Bump something up, knock something down, defend the stock you're white-knuckling. I want to read it. And look, none of this is investment advice. I am a guy making videos, not your financial advisor. Do your own homework before you risk $1.